What's up everybody, Griffey here. Fan films have a tried and true history of sucking. Here though are some examples where the fans got it right. I mean, this is what we all want in a fan film, right? Give us the two giant action figure boogeymen we love hacking and slashing each other. Who will win? Us, the audience, will win. Freddy vs. Jason was fun, if not a little corny, but we did a lot of explaining why these killers would cross paths. This movie eschews all that. Without any talking, they just start maiming each other, brutalizing each other, blood's flying everywhere. They take turns killing each other, only to wake up and then go kill the other one back, right? It's kind of the circle of murder and mayhem. Why can't I just get a Royal Rumble of horror movie? I don't want a story, I just want more blades and blood.
I'm asking you if you are the Springwood Slasher.
Well, I prefer the term Springwood Butcher.
What you love about A Nightmare on Elm Street is that the idea of the dream worlds lets you be unbound to the killer with just knives. So much creativity, so many wonderful practical effects moments that none of us Nightmare fans will ever forget. You may find it bizarre that of all A Nightmare on Elm Street fan films, my favorite doesn't involve a nightmare in any way. In The Confessions of Fred Krueger, we witness the interrogation and confession of the man who would become our favorite dream demon. No tricks, no dreamscapes, just a harsh fluorescent light on this man and how truly horrifying he was before he could attack us in our sleep. The performance is great, and that's always been the hardest part of Freddy, is how do you do Freddy without Robert Englund? This movie does it. This performance is chilling. Sometimes restraints breed creativity. And by the end of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, we were there for the practical effects. That was the star of the movie. That's all we really wanted to see. And the stories reflected that poorly, right? This one taking all of that away and really getting back to the essence of who this monster is. Why we are afraid of him and shouldn't just laugh with him as he flies around like the Wicked Witch of the West is a beautiful addition to this franchise. I think this is what fan films at their best do. When I was a boy, very few movies were cooler than Predator. Just an overflowing geyser of manly monster fighting energy. As an adult, there may be no more tortured movie monster than the Predator. In the first one, he's hunting Arnold. That's awesome. The second one, he's hunting Danny Glover. That's awesome. By the time we get to the movie where they're like, can you imagine Adrian Brody is an elite special ops soldier? You're like, no, because he looks like he's never eaten food. Prey was a wonderful change of pace and showed us a world where the Predator could fight with warriors from any time or place. Predator Dark Ages is my favorite version of this concept. A group of knights are sent to track down a monster only to cross swords with the Predator. Metal. Suits of metal. That is what we want to see. We want to see the greatest warriors in history fight this Predator. That's what this monster needs. He must have worthy adversaries. And when he squares up with a medieval knight who puts his helmet on, he's like, let's go, demon. That's all I want. Predator should be one of the easiest movies to deliver a good version of, and they constantly don't. This fan film did a wonderful job. Why can Hollywood not figure this out? You know what's cool? Michael Myers. You know what is not? The long lineage of broken timelines and mythology the Halloween franchises has squirted onto screens. We don't want all that. We just want him to kill people. That's it. And this movie goes there. No one is safe. I think the most important mission of a fan film is reminding us why we loved a character in the first place. Watching Michael stalk his victims on an autumn night in Happy Halloween does just that. Beautiful images of this monster on the hunt without being bogged down by curses or thorns reminds us of the primal nature of this character. Critters is a fun horror sci-fi romp which spawned a franchise that let its mythology mutate out of control. By the time you get to part 3 of Critters, now they're in an apartment building, we have baby Leonardo DiCaprio, and we have like long scenes, what feels like 5 minutes of Critters just eating chili and soap and farting bubbles. It's embarrassing, it's hard to watch. Seeing how off course this series had flown, it was amazing to find signs of life in the franchise with Critters Bounty Hunter. a very streamlined fan film about a shape-shifting bounty hunter stalking and battling a Krite through a house. We see the roll, we see the teeth, we even have the critter say, "Oh, before it is stabbed to the wall and murdered. This is such a small and focused version of the story. We see the bounty hunter come in with the glowing green head. He hasn't taken a form yet. Like everything in this movie, it's meant to be mostly blank, so we can write our love of the franchise onto the screen. We see one Krite, we see a ball, we see the attack. It's all very fast. We see Critter's eggs. It is a simple, effective, well-made love letter to all of the ideas that have been trashed throughout this franchise. It's not rewriting history, it's not adding much, it's just reminding us how much good stuff there is in this franchise.
Hello?
Black Christmas is the movie that set the tone, standards, and most of the tropes we love about the slasher genre. Knowing that director Bob Clark made this Christmas movie and A Christmas Story is insane to me. I like to imagine a world where TBS just shows The Moaner for 24 hours straight on one Christmas day. The key element that makes Black Christmas so scary is the complete mystery of who the killer is. This fan film totally gets what made this a classic. The calls, the not seeing. Seeing a man truly lose his mind in the attic, right? We are playing again with the elements of the first one. It has the legacy sequel elements of the granddaughter of the girl who escapes the first attack, some of those things. There's a lot of time with the girls talking about what they would feel had they been in that first movie, but that becomes a chance for us to reflect on that as well. If this were the premise for an actual legacy sequel, I would be ecstatic to watch it. They really earn your trust early in this film.
Georgie?
Georgie meeting Pennywise is one of my favorite scenes in a horror story. The clown in the sewer luring this little boy to his demise is a tragedy that ripples out through the whole story of it. I love that the fan film Georgie uses this moment to see what happens to the parents in this world. Pennywise returns in the form of Georgie, but not the cute little boy we all know from the iconic opening of the movie. Now he's an adult. Now he's bald. Now he looks like he's in a Blue Man Group cover band. And it is grotesque. It adds this extra nefarious layer to Pennywise. Is he even there to eat her? Is he just there to haunt her? Does he do this with every parent of every kid he's ever taken? As a parent, when I saw this short film, I was rocked. I was trying to turn this thing off. It had me crawling in my skin.
So what becomes of the harvester with no more souls to harvest? What becomes of the hunters with nothing left to hunt?
There was a time you would have heard me asking for Hellraiser, no more sequels. Hellraiser is my favorite horror film, but watching some of the entries in this franchise were an assault on the flesh and mind. This fan film, made by Gary Tunnicliffe, who had done makeup for the Hellraiser franchise, is a perfect love letter to Pinhead. What does Pinhead do when no more nipples need tweaked because all of humanity died in a nuclear apocalypse? I don't know, but I do love listening to Pinhead wrestle with this crisis. Also, Gary didn't just make this short, he played Pinhead. I think he did a pretty good job. It's kind of crazy to think he just stepped into that role, pulled his nipples off, and crushed it. I actually think he's better than two of the other Pinheads we got in Judgment and Revelation. This is the dream for every fan film. You're a part of a big franchise, you're the makeup guy. Then you go and make your own and you show that you can take the reins, you can pull the chains that are attached to the Hellraiser franchise. He went on to direct Hellraiser Judgment, which had me hoping for that nuclear finale. But No More Souls will always rule. He has a moment where Pinhead asks, do I just wait for 65 million more years of evolution to bring me new perverted mammals with which to torture? And I had to sit and think, that is an insane question. Pinhead has that kind of reach and longevity if he wants it. It adds new layers to this character without disrespecting him, which is something the Hellraiser franchise has not done well. It's hard to pinpoint where Friday the 13th went wrong as a franchise because I personally don't think they did that often. There's part 5, right, where it's the EMT and there's no Jason, but that happens before in the franchise. The first one is just Mama Voorhees. The problem is how we start adding extra layers that interfere. They're not bad movies, they're just full of weird choices that get in the way of enjoying this killer use his weapons. And then this movie gets back to basics. This movie has essentially nothing happen for like 10 to 15 minutes. It's just a guy who's really excited to go hiking and tell you about it. And then out of nowhere, like a shark, Jason appears and hunts this man down, and he's running for his life. Putting this hiker in the middle of nowhere with Jason Voorhees is as scary as this franchise has ever gotten. It's simple, it's clean, it's sadly breastless, but the lack of extra layers let us focus on the horror of finding ourselves alone in the woods with this behemoth. It gets a little sloppy at the end when we start introducing more characters, including Tommy Jarvis, but hey, it's not a Friday the 13th film without the threat of a sequel. So that's it. If I missed a great fan film, let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to check it out. But if it sucks, you can't be mad at me when I make fun of you on the internet.